hello, and welcome to another episode of the Gabfest. Okay, so the reason why, sorry, it was like that. We did start, sorry guys, and then technical difficulties, but we are back. Thank you so much for those who continued to wait. I hope those that left do come back, but thank you so much. So today we are speaking. Disney. Okay, but let's first, before we go that, you can do that. Go ahead.
Like today was like my day of debuting to ask first. So I'd like to ask, how was your week, guys?
Do you want to go, Cleo? How was your week?
I had a good week. Yeah, I don't know what I say. I just had a really good week. Things have been great. Yeah.
Things been working out?
Yes.
Good.
I thought that this year is not my year, but I think
Seems
it's
like
starting
it
to
is.
happen. Yeah.
It's starting. The second half is going to be the better half. Okay.
Indeed.
And how was you?
I asked the question.
My week was good. I am praying for school to open now. Like last week, I didn't mind. We were having a good time. We were doing all these things. And now slowly everything is becoming a bit boring for Scarlett, and it is killing me. I am so tired. Guys, I don't know how teachers teach and then go home to their own kids, because it is a lot of work.
You must have a passion and a love for kids to work with kids and go home to your own kids.
But anyway, it's been a tough week in that terms. But other than that, it's still happy moments, good times, spending a lot of time with friends, and yeah, good.
Yeah, I just really need to make peace. Yeah, I need to make peace,
Guys, the load shedding.
Yeah, but I think for us it's worse. I don't know. I have never heard people complain more than we do, because literally yesterday we were off the whole day. Yeah. And it's not scheduled. Then they say, no, there's something wrong. But the timing is just suspicious.
It's like more load shedding than power.
Yeah, no, you have
really.
to ask, when are the lights on? Like that should be the schedule that is created so that we can plan our lives accordingly. Because the upsetting part of the whole thing is your network is completely gone. People can't get a hold of you. You can't get any work done. You can't get your messages out. And people just genuinely think you're being rude when you're not being rude.
And sometimes there's so many important things that you don't get to because...
Like today I had to literally sit and go through all my messages of yesterday, and some of the phone calls came through, but it kills the call. So it rings and it kills the call. So people are just like, thinking, how rude. You're putting it off. And it's not what's happening. You're just really trying to balance your life and... trying to make food for your kids.
You're getting a break there from the cooking.
You know what? Actually not. I'm struggling more now than I've been struggling, because now it's a matter, I do have a gas stove, so there's no...
use it as an excuse.
Yeah. And it's a matter of... So I can't just pop something into the oven, which is the easier option. But shame, guys, we're making it. We've made it up until 8 years. I think we're growing stronger. We get Woolies chicken now. That is a break. We get Woolies chicken now. So I'm happy.
I love this, because I hate cooking. And every time we come here and Anka talks about how much she hates it, I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm not alone.
A lot of people hate it. They just do it because they have to.
Yeah.
And then there is those that is like extremely passionate about it.
I have my moments, but I have to feel like it.
Yeah.
You have a moment.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. It's really inspiring. I really want to aspire.
I don't have
to
humans
have
to
a moment.
feed.
You don't have your
Only
money.
myself.
You know what I did when I lived alone?
Noodles.
Yeah, I was creative, right? My Sunday meal was, I used to cook my 2-minute noodles in a pot, and then sometimes instead of mince, I would make it like it's pasta and everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would throw the noodles, 2-minute noodles, and take chakalaka for the spice sauce. Then it's my spaghetti bolognese.
I think that is why I hate 2-minute noodles that much, because in my books, it was my struggle food, because it was college food. That and tuna, a can of tuna is like, I can't deal with this.
Tuna.
I really can't. But moving along, Woolies chicken has citrus. My husband didn't like it, I'm not going to lie. So for the longest time, we didn't do it. But since he's been into this whole jogging and fitness scene, he comes home hungry, and a good dry breast chicken.
It's so dry though.
I also think it's not nice.
My point. And I get all the juicy parts. So we're all happy. The kids like that dry part, and I get all the juicy parts. We're all happy. Add a bit of acha, we're happy. I've cooked. You happy,
You've cooked.
I paid for it, I cooked. It counts as my cooking.
Okay, so today we are speaking about the Disney princesses, right? Mm-hmm. And we've been putting this topic off for the longest time
Like a
because,
month.
yeah, almost a month now. Maybe even more than a month. So we've been putting this topic off and off and off and off. And we finally decided, let's do it because, our show does woman things that is trending. And sometimes some things that's trending is more umfredoomst. So Cleo had this idea yesterday.
Oh gosh.
And she regretted it last night. But she decided
I was so upset when Mandy told me. I'm like, really? Now I already don't know what's going on. Now I need to figure out something.
Gosh,
so
I'm
what
so
the-
sorry, guys.
this girl does not look at her messages ever. But, and I'm bad, but I know what to look for.
Hi, Shame. Let me explain myself so that we don't feel like I'm not prioritizing. When it comes to a Thursday is kind of my day off. I don't count it as my day off because I'm at home doing housework, which is really hard work, guys. Why did our parents tell us these things, right? So I switch off completely on my messaging, on work, on everything. So I focus on what's at home. So I
Yeah.
don't check on my messages. And to top it all off, guys, I do have an excuse. It was load shedding the whole day.
It
I
wasn't
think you
load
should
shedding in
pin
the
the
morning
group.
when she sent it.
Yeah, but I did switch off. So I said I switch off. I don't look at my messages. I don't reply. I'll skim here and there and see what's happening from Xavier and certain other people,
Okay.
but the rest.
Sorry, I just want to thingy according to time. You can still share your stories. Now, let me just explain quickly. So, Cleo asked us to please dress up, as we are speaking about the Disney princesses, to please dress up in our Disney characters, right? So, Cleo, will you tell us who are you today?
So today I'm Ariel with
Whoop, whoop,
the
whoop.
purple and the green. Did I get the purple right?
yeah, it could be any purple.
It could be any purple.
Yeah. So.
You could be green, you could be violet. You could...
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, if I knew the words, I'd be singing with you. I just forgot my fork. Because
To
all the
brush
people
your
on
hair.
TikTok I saw
Yeah,
had the
they're
fork.
using forks because they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, in modern day, if she's at the restaurant, there's
Yeah.
no shell. She'll pick up the fork and be like, oh, is this a brush?
Oh wow. Okay.
I feel like I
That
would
far.
have went a bit more out if I planned my morning properly, but even the way I drove here was a bit hectic. Like,
We're here, and
Yeah.
we move. Don't stress. We're
we're
here.
alive, we're safe, we're
Yes.
happy.
Thank you, and thanks for coming.
And who are you guys?
Anx, you want to say who you are?
I am Belle. I like to read, and I've been held captive.
You have been held captive.
Yes, I was in quarantine for most of the time with my captor.
So I was going to dress as Pocahontas, but then, like I told you guys, I'm dressing as Pocahontas. But once I put the outfit on, I felt like I look like that every day because I only wear brown.
Oh, your shades,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, oh. And then I thought I dressed like Mulan today because I've never watched Mulan. I've
have
watched
never watched
everything,
Mulan?
but I've never watched Mulan.
Oh wow! I even watched the movie, the latest movie. I was highly disappointed. Not the
Yeah,
point though. But
when I was googling what Mulan looks like, I did see a lot of people complaining
But
about
this
the
top
new
is
one.
really nice.
Thanks. So it's
So you just
those-
had this
yeah.
just laying around.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm wearing my husband's suit.
Ooh, I didn't even notice. You'd
Um,
never say.
I'm wearing my husband's
the way
suit.
she can just fit into her husband's clothes, like.
I do not want to show you what's happening at the back of my pants.
Okay.
Just now I'm telling Lee
What do you-
I really need to go to the bathroom, but I can't go to the bathroom because my top is holding up my pants.
Uh-oh.
It's what did you say? Business in the front and party in the back.
Ashley's asking online, is that my blazer? It is your blazer. It's also your pants.
Guys,
So we
no.
moved.
I think you misconstruing this whole concept. Actually, it's not yours.
It's
as in your
ours.
entity. It's yours, as in both of yours. You
Yeah.
guys are married as
What
one.
happened to what's mine is
It's
yours?
yours, yeah.
Yes. Kimone says, good afternoon, ladies. Looking gorgeous. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
Why, thank you.
much.
Why, thank you.
So I am Mulan, and I will go watch the movie today.
I don't think it's worth it. Rather go watch the cartoon. It's fine.
Yeah.
You'll be better for the cartoon.
Okay, I'll do that. So we're speaking about the Disney princesses, right? And did they influence your love? So how we came about this topic, there is an artist that went about and did this whole... She has a series called Dr. Pink Giraffe. And her cartoons is basically... Dr. Pink Giraffe is like the therapist, right? And she did a series where Dr. Pink Giraffe is
We're gonna go with the whole name. Can't we just-
therapy sessions. Is doing therapy sessions with the Disney princesses, right? So I
We should
sent
actually
the.
repost it on the page.
Yeah, we'll repost it on the page. I wanted to save it, but I did not. So we will do. Actually, it says hours, Ash. Yes, hours. We will be doing. I will tell you what it says, and based on the fact that I sent it to you guys, before we read it out to the people and go into discussion, what was your thoughts when you actually looked at it? Because for me, it was like, yeah, you watch this, but you've never actually thought about it that way.
Right.
I think also at the age when you're watching it, your mind is not fully developed enough to grasp what's actually happening. And I feel like that happens with a lot of kids' movies and programs. Like sometimes my nieces and my nephews will be watching Disney Channel or whatever they watch these days. And you'll like just overhear some of the things that they're saying.
Yeah.
Like, what's this other show that he watches? Oh, guys, I don't know the names, but they talk about like pyramid schemes and things.
Yeah. And you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But even movies we used to watch. So I'm busy trying to get content for Ava them because I don't really want them watching the latest Disney content because of obvious
there's
reasons.
funny things happening.
Yeah, funny things happening. So I've been going back into because I thought like when we were growing up we were watching wholesome things. So when I
Go back
We
and watch
thought,
it.
yeah.
go back and watch it and you're like, not very subliminal after all, very obvious after all. So you're like, you're not fully developed, but you can see why that creeps into the subconscious and why certain things you're like, that makes kind of sense now.
Yeah.
For me, I think that we weren't as exposed as kids are today.
Yeah.
So for us, we might be watching it and be at that time many years ago. If you watch it, you don't look at it with that like, oh, is that what they're trying to say? But I think kids now is so exposed because of what plays on TV, because of YouTube and all of those things. They actually understand the meaning behind it. And I mean, my daughter's 5 years old, but the question she asks when she watches something, you're like,
Yeah, you're like
you're not supposed to know that.
it's a shock to reality, like a little early, like 5 years, 10 years too soon, you know.
Yeah.
It does.
So for me, that was one point where I was like, guys, the kids today, I mean, you have 3-year-olds knowing how to play certain things. I mean, I look at my son now, he plays online games with old people, and it's stuff you have to look out for. So if a 3-year-old can play games like that, obviously they can understand what is actually happening.
I just want to bring you guys into why I'm laughing. So the other day we were at the house and he's a 4-year-old is playing, and he's like playing with his uncle basically, and they're playing on the TV game, and they're talking over the phone and whatnot. It's online, obviously, and he starts going louder and louder and louder, and eventually goes like, Isaiah, don't speak so loud. Do what you must, mommy. Do what you must.
Wow.
I was just
Shook. And he gets so into it.
he's so into it.
Shook, like.
He even asked for a wardrobe that looks like his avatars. But anyway, moving on.
Is that Roblox?
No, Free Fire.
I've never
No,
heard of it.
Roblox looks too poppy for him.
Oh, he's like,
And he's
He's into-
online, so like he's playing with people who are not in the room. Like he
Yeah,
goes
you just
on.
hear him having conversations
Like,
with
who he
random
talking
people.
to? In the beginning, I thought he was just talking to himself, and there was like, ooh, there's a person on the other side.
I said the other day, we'll still be speaking about someone and then he's playing against someone. Anyway, so we're going to jump into the first one, right? Which is you, Cleo.
oh, is it me?
Yeah, it's Ariel.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so Ariel, how do you say
Ariel.
Ariel? So Ariel, Dr. Pink Giraffe says to Ariel, so basically, you changed your whole self just to fit into his world.
Oh, that sounds like old me, hey?
Does it sound like old
That
you?
sounds like old me.
What's your thoughts like based on watching the movie and everything? When you think about it, you think, oh, a princess gave up her whole life for love and whatnot.
Yeah, because remember that was the Disney's like narrative. They were pushing love. You know, love
Yeah,
is against the
knight in
just
shining
knight in
armor.
shining
Do you think
armor
I should
love.
read all of it and then we just have an open discussion
I
instead
think
of
so.
going
Okay,
through
cool.
everything?
Let's do
Okay.
that.
So that's Ariel. So basically, you change your whole self just to fit into his world, right? Jasmine, the guy lied to you the entire time and you're still going to marry him.
Oh, because he said he's got money and stuff.
Yeah. He doesn't have.
No, he doesn't have. But remember, he said that he was a prince.
Yeah.
A prince of, something
Alibaba.
there.
And
Ababwa. Something like
Alibaba.
that. And then she finds out that he's just the,
What's the frozen girl's name? The one in the blue dress?
Elsa.
Elsa.
Okay, this is to Elsa. Did you really let it go?
I think I like that one though. I did like that one.
Oh, this is to Cinderella. Okay, you danced for a couple of hours in a party and now you think he's the love of your life. Tell me more about it.
The therapist is so straightforward.
This is to Mulan. Wow, so you saved China for your father's approval.
That's a deep one though, I think. I think a lot of people struggle with that one. That's a deep one.
This is to Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. Let's talk about consent while you are unconscious.
Guys, I read the craziest thing about that. Can I just jump
Yeah.
in there quickly? So, I read this article yesterday that said that Walt Disney's has like original stories. The fairy tale one that we read is not the original. I don't know how true this is, guys, but this is just what I read. And what actually happened with Sleeping Beauty is that this guy, he didn't kiss her, he raped her. And then she had twins, and that's why he married her, because she had kids from him.
Wow, that's creepy.
But I've heard that, like I've even heard Snow White, the real story is not like, it's more vicious.
So is it not for kids then? The original ones, I don't think.
I don't know.
You know what? It's a young conspiracy, but you'll never know now, would we?
But
Because
let's
the other
focus on
one,
the kids ones.
because there was also the one of Moana that she actually died, and that's actually her being in the spirit world. So, and they do it as per, because in the first few scenes she goes out, and then remember she's this ocean help, and then she ends up where Maui is.
Yeah.
In that scene, she apparently died. So it
That
was.
makes sense.
Yeah, so it's all this subliminal messaging, but
Because they don't actually show her going back home at the end, do they?
they do.
Oh.
She does go back.
Okay, so that was to Aurora. This is to, what's Tangled Rapunzel? 18 years locked up in a tower. You must have no problem with quarantine.
That's very applicable for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
This is to Belle. It doesn't matter how many books he gave you, he's still your captor. Your captor.
Are you listening, Belle?
I am, however, I vicariously live through the books that I read.
This is the Snow White. You went to live with 7 people you didn't know, and you got poisoned by food a stranger offered you. I'm simply impressed by your capacity of trusting people. So,
Why don't we question these things when we're watching it?
exactly.
Because
so that's why I thought it would be
remember-
interesting.
Remember, first of all, it's an animation, so it's harmless because it's an
Yeah.
animation, firstly. So that put your guard down. Secondly, there's all this music,
Oh, the music.
and birds
Yeah.
and chopping and whatnot. And
They
and-
romanticize it a
yeah,
lot.
you're like in this dreamy world. And then secondly, it's like it's the main focus is about this woman finding her prince. That's it. That's the main focus. It's like
Yeah.
going to it and being like found and swished away from your current situation. I mean, they all had situations. Cinderella had a crappy situation with her stepmother. Snow White, same thing, stepmother. And, she's living with 7 other men. And, they all have, like, except Ariel. I think Ariel has a
Yeah.
okay story there.
But I like how, like,
not as
some of the
toxic.
more modern stuff, like Brave. I don't think there wasn't a prince in Brave, isn't it?
There wasn't a prince. That was the narrative. So my problem is what happens is, and guys, I know I say this all the time, and it's my famous words. There must be balance.
Yeah.
So what happens is the narrative they push in Brave, and I think there should always be balance, but they overemphasize it, and a lot of the movies now, because of the the women's empowerment movements and all of that, feminist movements and all of that. So there's no prince, and I don't need a prince or a man to
Yeah.
rule or whatever. So I don't think, I think there should be balance. For me personally, that's my experience. Yes, a woman can rule, but let's not cancel out the other one.
Yeah.
Let's bring
Yeah,
balance.
still rule, but with the other party in
let's
the
not-
business.
I watched we were speaking about it, and I watched I was horribly surprised with the new Cinderella. I don't want to promote it, so I'm not even going to say when it came out. It's a fairly newish Cinderella. And I was watching it because I'm thinking, Disney, and knowing what I know with what has been said now and the leaks and whatever. But I thought, okay, fine, maybe this is still a bit early. So I watch it with my daughter. So the whole narrative is changed from being a princess and, wanting to become a princess or whatever, the whole fairy tale of it all. Now they really over perpetuate the woke culture. It's everything, like her wanting to be a businesswoman, her not,
Oh, no.
she shouldn't get married because that means she'll let go of her dreams, like stuff like that.
Okay.
And then there was a little bit of a scene
So
where
it's one for the feminists.
yes, but which is contradicting because the fairy godmother was a fairy,
God, man.
yeah, full on in a dress. But we're saying the feminist movement, but like, guys, who needs to be offended in this? So I wasn't, and my child looked at it and she's like, why are they saying godmother when it's a man? It's the fairy godfather. She keeps on pressing on it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we're not watching movies. So I put it off because I'm like, I'm disturbed.
You're not ready to have that
You're not
conversation.
ready to have
with
that So Lee says fairy tales were not meant for children. It was actually written for adults. To go on to what you were saying, the Brothers Grimm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that actually sounds
That's actually
familiar.
true.
I think I
I've
read
actually,
something like
yeah,
that.
I've also heard that.
that's actually, thanks Lee. That's actually very true.
It is. So I've also heard a few things like that. Like I'm saying in the beginning, when I was younger, I also sang, like I always use that example. I used to sing rock the boat, rock the boat, change
Until you
position,
realize.
change. When I got older and I realized what it means, you like,
But you know what is surprising for me? And I think because our parents grew up in a different generation, so how did they not catch it? I mean, they were older.
so with me, I think my parents didn't catch it because they weren't familiar with the music.
Yeah.
I think they were just thinking I'm really singing about the boat.
Okay, that could be true. That could be. I think they just weren't paying attention to what we were saying, like the songs we were listening. Because there's a couple of songs that
Missy Elliott confuses me though because
Why?
our music video had kids dancing in it all the time.
yeah, but it wasn't
when you
for
listen to the
appropriate-
songs now, it's about your size and stuff like that, and it's like,
Yeah, isn't that the point of... That's how they get
Subliminal
into...
messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with, I mean, if we have to go look at all these fairy tales, and subliminal messaging isn't obvious at all. So as much as you watching it doesn't understand it, it's left to seed. Now I think that's where your things come, your narrations come with your 50 Shades of Grey. What's this new movie that we were talking about the other day that I said is
365.
yeah, 365. So, and I mean, that's Beauty and the
What's
Beast.
that?
365 is Beauty and the Beast basically. He
It's just
finds a
very
woman
explicit.
that he wants, but it's not even soft,
Soft.
porn.
It's
It's
just-
like a porno, because the actors is not even actors that you know.
Okay.
So
But it's okay to watch, remember, because everything goes, because like it's art, remember. That's what the people almost not saying.
Okay, what's that?
Yeah, so it's not categorized as exotic or what
Okay.
explicit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just there in the section where everyone can watch
So
it.
what? It's literally actually like Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
So, but she didn't go to the tower first. So he literally steals her.
He's some drug
for
lord.
365 days
okay.
until she falls in love with him. So she's not allowed to do anything. She doesn't have a phone. Has no access to internet. Absolutely nothing until. That's why it's called 365 because there's 365 days in a year,
Yeah.
and that's how long he keeps her until
And
How long does it take for her to fall in love? Sorry.
the 365 because they
I-
get married.
I wouldn't know. But the thing here is that I've seen quite a few people do reviews in terms of they're excited for the next one or, this and that.
I
and
need to
you're like,
watch this.
and even if I have to go back and have to look at 50 Shades of Grey and how that had an impact on so many women, whether it be in church circles, whether it be, the
Yeah.
impact after ladies have read that. I have heard guys say the funniest things that like, "Ooh, did you now go and read the book now or something?" Because women
Yeah.
immediately started acting different because they wanted something like that. And what that is portraying is just toxic culture. That's abuse. And it makes it now okay. So you relate it back to Beauty and the Beast, and you're like, Mara, ain't like you were being abused into loving this
This person, it didn't come naturally.
Yeah.
So for me, I would. Which one for you like stood out the most in terms of like? Oh, I really didn't think about that.
It was
Any
one of the first
movie?
ones.
You were speaking about the father one. in terms of that's a lot of things people struggle with. What's your take on that?
I think a lot of people struggle with, and I think this is for men as well, that because parents play such a big role in our lives as children, we want their approval. We want to seem like we're doing them proud.
Yeah.
So, a lot of kids go out on a limb just to prove to the parents. I mean, the simple thing of being in school. You want to come home with that A because you were told that if you come home with a C, you're not getting this, or you're not that, or or parents sometimes compare the children.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is my mathematician, but this one, Nia, I don't know.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know where they'll go in life. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think that approval, whereas we as parents are meant to continually affirm our kids regardless,
Yeah.
knowing that our kids can't be measured by how they climb a tree if they're supposed to be a fish in the sea. Do you get what I'm saying?
But I also feel like, not all parents, but a lot of parents put this into young girls' minds already. Like, oh, you must find a good husband that's going to look after you.
Yes.
Like, even when you see these small kids, these little girls with their dolls already playing mom and bouncing the doll. Like,
yeah, we prepared for
it's
it.
planted early.
But for me, I'm going to say that I don't agree in the extent of the kids, the baby thing, right? For me, kids do what they see.
Yeah.
So if I am being motherly to my children and they're not doing it in terms of I want a child tomorrow, but as women as well, you nurture from an early age. So you'd see that younger girls or something, they want to feed babies because then they like, I'm mommy now.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. So in terms of the finding love and the find your husband and stuff like that. But then also I think we mustn't mistake, because my therapist for Scarlett actually also mentioned something that I never ever thought about. Even Scarlett's teacher told me. They said when your boy child plays with a doll with his sister, don't say don't do that.
Yes.
Because you're taking his father instinct away. So that is something that's natural in terms of a man, if he has a child, is supposed to know how to change a child's nappy.
Yeah.
Is supposed to do. It depends on you as a parent how far you want it to go. But if he's nurturing for his sister's doll in terms of I'm just looking after the baby. Like I know my kids always play daddy and mommy with the doll, and then they go to soccer practice and they go watch the doll play soccer and stuff like that.
Because that's their life.
Because that's their life.
Yeah.
They see mommy and daddy going to soccer. They see us supporting. And that's
They're
what
just mimicking what they see.
They're mimicking what they see. So in certain things, they said it's very important that also with a boy child, to certain things, if you are following morals where a boy is a boy and a girl is a girl, don't take away certain aspects from the boy that allows him to be an adult when growing up.
Yeah.
Same thing, she was using the example of if your girl child has an ironing set, don't tell the boy he can't iron, because when he's married one day, he has the expectation that only women iron.
Yeah.
So there's some things that every day, it's lifestyle. That
they should be able to be equipped with a lot of the things, and that's
Skills.
just everyday skills. And I must also say from my side, I am pro-family. So there must be balance in terms of that. So for me, I'd love my kids to play with the dolls. Taya's forever there doing funny things that she sees us doing when we were either with other people's babies or, when we're around the house, whatever. They see that. And I think that is that in the early development stage, that solidifies who they are and the fact that they're a boy and a girl and all of that. The other thing that I also want to mention is that a lot of parents that have boys say, no, don't play with that. No, because I don't want him to confuse. He must know, he must.
I was going to say there's so many parents that would rather die before their son plays with a doll.
The challenge with that is, besides the aspect that Evangelique now lifted out, is that you make them curious at the end of the day. You're like, but now why can't I?
Yeah, it's like, don't touch the heater. Why
Yeah.
can't I touch
And-
the heater?
and
Let me
kids-
burn first.
Kids by nature, if you don't want them to do something, you might as well tell them to do it so that they don't do it.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to tell them don't, now they are curious, because by nature they are like that. Like, we'll forever be sitting in the room or in the lounge or whatever, and they'll be playing there on their own. The minute we have a cup of tea, the minute we set it down on the side table, they like little flies around it to bump it over or do something with it, So the minute you tell them not to do something, I think it's that curiosity. So there must be balance.
Yeah. So that's my stance in terms of the child side of it.
Okay.
But in terms of when you were speaking about the how you speak to how you speak to girls about the marriage thing, and how you speak to them
Knight in
about this
shining
fairy
armor
tale,
vibes,
and
yeah.
exactly, there's no realness when they speak, in terms of, you do get the parents that's hardcore, you can do it on your own, girls are powerful, and I do believe you must say that, but to the extent, like you say, with balance. Don't believe that we're so powerful that you don't need the other gender.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happened now in society. That yes, women must know
There's
that
a
they
huge
are
imbalance.
able. Yeah, but the things I think women's struggle is to show everyone that we are able to. We're just as good as a man. And me and Xavier were having this discussion, and the reality of the matter is, women are able to do everything in their sphere, because women and men are designed in a certain way. And I think it's important to affirm that. Yes, you can. However, it shouldn't be pushed in such a way that you're completely lopsided, and now you misplace the use
Of a man.
of a man. What is the purpose of a man? Now we misplace. No, he's not just there to satisfy and to just provide.
Yeah.
Oh, I can satisfy myself, I can provide for myself. No,
And then you
there's
have unhealthy relationships
have
because you make your partner feel like he's not needed.
he's inadequate. Yeah.
Or inadequate.
Yeah.
So one thing that I noticed from reading all the things is how desperate we as women, and what they're trying to depict is that you do need a man to tell you what
save
to
you.
do, to save you. You can't, like we said, don't take away from the man. But to me, all these things and all Dr. Pink Giraffe's things,
Let's give him an abbreviation. Dr. G.
Dr. G.
Dr. GP. PG. One of the two.
So for me, it's like she is trying to pinpoint why you seeking approval from in all these aspects. And for me, with it being fairy tale, it puts some, like we said, the Prince Charming aspect out to it, with no realness to what a relationship actually covers. And many a times, if you hear girls, they want that magic moment. I want to go to
I was one of those guys.
I want to go to the club tonight, dance with somebody, and make it look like there's only a spotlight on the two of us, and everybody is slow-moing around us. And
I was one of that. I want this magical moment, and Prince Charming will come get. Yeah, guys, I was one of those.
But that's all. I feel like I kind of have this like fairy tale requirement. I don't want to call it that for love, because like you guys have been married for a while, right? Do you still get butterflies for your husband?
you do.
I
So
think
it is possible. I'm not like being unrealistic.
Yeah,
you
but
not know.
remember the meeting. Remember our fairy tales is not showing after the wedding.
you see, there's the wedding and there's the actual marriage.
Yeah.
The wedding is magical. You can pay R1 million for your
And you
wedding, but
get
whether
the
your
jitters with your dress and all the attentions. Yes,
Then you're like a Disney princess.
You are. That's why it's now become a thing with the A-line and silhouette dresses. Most people's dresses are ball gown dresses, because I think all of us want to be in that fairy tale.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I always laugh when I say, when the first day I met Xavier, that he just burst in like a knight in shining armor. I shame he had a really shiny suit on.
literal.
Literally. So what happened was, it was our first flight out coming to Joburg. I'm scared because the stories I heard of Joburg, people just rob you here. So I'm in the airport terminal. He called me to say he got his keys stuck in the car, locked in the car, and there's some interview in Sandton.
Okay.
So now he's delayed by an hour and a half. And I'm nervous. I'm checking over my shoulder because someone's about to rob me. I can't tell anyone.
In the airport.
In the airport terminal. Shame, guys, I've never traveled alone before that. And I'm still texting, and I'm like worried, and I've got a bit of airtime still that I can text my people back home. No, I'm still safe, that kind of vibe. And then the next minute I see is just, yo, where's Anka? He's like, this is the very first meeting that we're meeting each other's at the airport now. Before that, we were just like talking over the phone or like on Facebook.
Yeah.
But he really had like a silver shiny suit. And I was like, oh, okay.
So was that your
That
moment?
That was my moment. So I do think it's real. I do think it's real how comic it might come. come across. I think it is. But after that, after marriage, it's basically what you decide. I think this morning was one of those mornings was like, yo, I really love my husband. And you hear your own little flowers or your own little
That's you all the time. Like,
Oh no,
Anka's always, "Oh, my
I could be a
husband."
gremlin. I could be a gremlin. Those who know me, no, that's not. Yeah, I have my moments.
And then she's just laughing, yeah.
Because we've experienced our moments.
Jinx. But seriously though, there is a fakeness to the fairy tales that tells you that this is the magic moment. And I think a lot of movies in general though, they lead up this whole love story until the wedding day, and then there's no truth behind a wedding, a marriage itself. And then I must be honest though, movies that do it paints marriage very ugly in terms of when you do get married, because there is movies that after the wedding, this is how things
Now you're
end up,
fighting and there's financial. Yeah, those are everyday things.
but we need movies that will
Inspires
still
to show-
inspire the fairy tale in marriage.
And then say this is how you deal with it and this is how you overcome it, because that inspires that. Because the reality of the matter, you are going to face everyday struggles. You are going to face the financial issues. Every marriage. I have not known a marriage that has had good times in finances and then bad times. I don't know a marriage that just had all the way just good.
Yeah, there's
You know,
always some
there's-
sort of cycle.
Yeah, there's a cycle, there's a build up. I was studying while he was keeping the kids, and this is how we got you. That kind of thing. I think there's
Yeah.
always a story, but no one ever tells how do you deal with it. It's not gonna just go, oh, then I must just not be for it because why is everything happening to me?
But
Everyone
why
goes through
are
these
people
things.
so secretive about the challenges of marriage? Is it to protect what you have?
Yeah. It's basically the culture that we all grew up, and even my parents. Because I always ask, how did you guys make it? Because you guys didn't even go to counseling. You guys didn't have therapy. Nothing. How did you guys make it? And then it's that old age thing of you keep quiet. You don't speak bad about your husband at all or your spouse. You need to protect each other first of all. And people need to always think it's happy-go-lucky there. People always need to think it's sunshine and roses.
Is that healthy?
It's not healthy, which is why where we are now, we encourage do like you would go for a checkup every year for your dentist appointment or whatever.
Yeah.
Do that with your marriage. And with the couples we counsel, we say, if you're not sure where you are in your marriage, go for counseling or just go for a checkup to see if you guys are still healthy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because the reality of the matter, you two people that are I'm not the same person that Xavier met. Thank you, Lord. We're not the same people we were when we initially met. Because I've said this many times before. My marriage in the beginning was atrocious. My first 2 years of marriage, I understood why people just throw in the towel in the first 2 years of marriage. But no one speaks about it.
Yeah.
No one says, people think it's just, sunshine and roses, the honeymoon
But
stage.
that's why also it's important to, like we always say, use your platforms as everyday people for inspiring good and bad.
Yeah.
In
And
terms
being
of
real.
in realness, if there is something that's going on, don't just share the happy times. Don't just share this. I'm not saying put your fights on Facebook, but I say like things are not going well now. This is how we're dealing with it.
Yeah.
But what's happening
Like you can
now?
do it without oversharing.
You can do it without oversharing. But what's happening now is movies is starting to create this divorce culture.
Yes.
So the minute you get married, if you're not happy, it's fine. Leave it.
Yeah, like there's a back door. Guys, do you know how difficult divorce is?
And expensive, apparently.
Yeah, but you know what? Statistically, it's proven to rather lose your spouse to death than go through a divorce. So why would you want to go through it? I'm just saying, don't
Because
open the back door.
fairy tales tells me.
That's true.
It's fine.
That's true.
I always say I'm very into the realness of things with everything. But like what I'm saying is what Dr. G is telling us is that we watch things and we allow certain things only looking at these magical moments and not looking at what is the storyline actually depicting. Because like now Lee says it's not meant for adult kids in the first place. It's meant for adults. But you turning it into an animation, you know your target market is
Yeah.
kids. I say the same thing with Avengers, for example. Everybody knows a little boy's hero is Spider-Man, is Superman, is Iron Man. But do you know we can't watch movies in a movie theater because my son is too young to watch the movies. So you know what your target
market
market
is.
is. Why are we doing it for the adults if the adults
Yeah.
is not the target market? Same thing with fairy tales. Your target market, if you are saying it's meant for adults,
I, I just want a side note. You know, Americans are different, right? Really different in all spheres of life. But they actually have that for adults because they've got this Comic Con thing every year where adults come dressed in Iron Man.
they have it here as well.
I didn't know that, but do you get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
a big, big thing in the States. I didn't even know it existed.
But
Yeah.
maybe it's also a thing of like you saying that your kids can only go to certain movies and they know that their parents are obviously going to accompany them. So
But it's not PG
Yeah,
movies.
it's not PG. They're
You
not
have
allowed
to be
in it.
13 years old to go in. So
But they don't do that the same with girls' movies, though. Like, it's usually everyone can go in, but when it comes to boys' movies like that, then there is an age restriction that they can't watch it and they must not watch it at home.
So I have a question. If these Disney movies are depicting a certain view of marriage or finding your Prince Charming and whatever, how do girls or us as women, because I think most of the time we grow in the same mindset unless we do our own work to extend or expand our minds, how do you know when to leave or when to work on it? Or do you just work and work and work until you die?
Look, most
how
most
do you know when
mean
is
work and work on what?
Your
like
marriage,
if if you have an
your
issue,
relationship.
how do you know like okay, this is a deal breaker?
Let me tell you, in terms of marriage, it's going to be work. It's work all the time. Love is work. You have to make a decision in the morning. I'm going to love this person. It's not a feeling, because if I have to go by feeling, I'm going to leave. Because there's many days where like, yo, I'm going to kick this man off the bed. You know, there's many days like that, and you feel like that. Yesterday, I spent the whole day cleaning, and come bath time with everyone, then everything's on the floor in the bathroom. I'm like, but there's a whole basket. Like,
Yeah.
like seriously, doesn't he love me? I've told him so many times. This is disrespectful because we don't have a helper. I am the doggo here. You know, that kind of vibe. So you're gonna have to work at it, and there's always gonna be something because you're an ever-changing person, you're an ever-evolving person. So there's always gonna be something that's either irritating the person. You're like, but baby, how could you do that? And you're like, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
So you're constantly gonna have to work at it, which is why we advise at least go for a checkup on your marriage because you are ever-evolving
But
people.
before marriage, even in terms of this fairy tale things, like we say, there's lots of red flags in all of this.
Yeah, that we choose to ignore a
you
lot of
choose
the
to
time.
ignore a lot of
Yes.
the time. Because before Belle ends up with the beast, he did first keep her captive in a building. You're not allowed to go anywhere. You can't do this. But she still decided to love him outside.
But
of
with that story, I feel like she starts to see who he is under all of that,
How-
and that's
but,
why she.
But here's the danger. Sorry if you
No,
want to
go.
jump in. Here's the danger. You as a person know you should be able to differentiate between toxic behavior and this person needs a bit of love, because toxic behavior can get you killed. And
Yeah.
I think that's where you need to understand, okay, this is where I need to leave. I've known of a couple, you know, that was very hands-on, you know, with each other. You know,
Yeah.
they like to caress each other really hard with their hands.
Yeah.
And it became a matter of you need to be able to say, this is toxic.
Yeah.
This is not working for us. So there's a lot of other toxic behaviors that
But
you
I'll
also-
jump on based on what you were saying, though.
Yeah.
Remember, like Anka said now, you know the difference between toxic and you know the difference with does this person need love or something like that. In Belle's situation, I honestly feel like many of these princesses are rescue princesses to the Prince Charming or something.
Yeah.
The
I'm
guy
saying-
is... No, I mean in the
Sorry.
other way around. In terms of the guy is toxic, you come along, he's been doing all of this to you. You fall in love with that toxic, knowing a bit of a good side from that guy.
Yeah.
That guy maybe just needs help. And let's be honest, that happens a lot in
Oh, of course.
your everyday life.
Yeah.
You go into a relationship, you could have helped him as a friend,
Yeah.
but you
Let's be
helped him
honest.
as a girlfriend. So it's just some areas in life that they just need to
let's
get out of, or
But I
something
think it's
like
also
that.
when you understand why they do this certain thing. I think that's what gets a lot of people caught in that space, because it's like, okay, I understand that he's like this because this happened to him and this and then.
They make
and then
They
that's
feel
where
sorry.
the difficult part comes in, because that's when
Yeah.
it becomes toxic. Oh no, he's just hitting me because his father used to hit me. He's
Yeah.
actually a really nice person when he's not angry.
But then let's be honest about Belle. Belle just felt sorry for him. Guys, you cannot establish love for feeling sorry for the person, because that's what happened. She stayed, yeah, but he's actually a good person inside. He didn't mean to keep me captive. And that's what we
Maybe I'm
do.
Belle sometimes too in my past.
So
Maybe I've been all of these blessings.
So you cannot, in the Christian community, you say you cannot missionary date. So you cannot rehabilitate date.
Rehabilitate is a good word.
Thank you for sticking with rehabilitate. You can't do that either.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be healthy in yourself, because even if you have to go look at most of the princesses, like I said earlier, they in some situation like a damsel in distress, and then the knight was shining up. Whether he's toxic or not, I mean, because look at Cinderella. According to the fairy tale, up until the point they show us, he wasn't toxic. He rather looked past the stepmother and went to the ends of the earth to get her. Do you get what I'm saying? And if you have to look at, I wanted to touch on the Ariel one real quick.
Yeah.
He says that you leave everything that you know for this man. And the reality of the matter, I did that. I left my family, my everything. What they don't tell you in that is that yours is bigyan sam daikan, because your mother's not there, your father's not there, your whole life that you did know, it's not there. But you need to work through it at the end, because you was married for love.
Would you change anything?
I wouldn't change
great.
anything, because when me and Xavier met, it was if God said this is it.
Yeah.
And we both knew.
Yeah.
We didn't know there will be struggles.
Yeah.
We just thought it would be a fairy
But
tale.
I love that, like, there's a success story there, because I know a lot of people put this negative connotation on people who choose their partner over their family. Like, a lot of people most of the time have toxic families, and
That is true.
this is where they go and create their own families.
So for me, that but was a bit different, because I always said that I will not marry if my father doesn't approve. Reason for that is that we have some history in the family where there was no approval, and the pattern that was perpetuated. So that was my only.
Yeah.
And if his family doesn't accept me either, I wasn't going to get married, because I wasn't going to go somewhere where I wasn't really wanted.
Oh,
So-
that's another story
So
for
that
another
was
day.
me. My fairy tale, my story was really a fairy tale. I was immediately accepted. From the word get-go. So I've always felt love from the word get-go. So for me, that was just really a fairy tale. That was like, I'm going to leave my family behind. I got a new family, bye. And then when you get there, then you're like, you miss certain things that you grew up, certain things you
Yeah.
were used to. I mean, I was a spoiled child in my parents' house, so my father's no longer there to do. Now you need to be. I'll never forget. My 4 months into marriage, I was like, I don't like this anymore.
I don't want it.
I don't want it. I called back home and I told Mommy, I want to come home. Like, you didn't tell me these things. And she's like, so I just wanted to find out from you. All of this is obviously happening in brutal Afrikaans. And she's like, is he hitting you? I'm like dumbfounded. Why would you ask me that? So I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Then she's like, okay, don't call me here for that nonsense again. And she put down the phone in my ear. Because,
Like, you're on your own, girl.
you chose this. You need to make this. You said you love this man, so you need to make it work. And it was the best advice, phone hang up I ever had.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys, do you think that it did influence your life as
Like
in
us
terms
personally?
of you personally? Because the topic is, did it influence the way you look at love today?
I think for me,
Don't read now. I'm waiting for that comment.
it influenced how do I say this? They make it seem like finding love is so easy.
Yeah. Do they?
Like, usually it's like the first person.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like that? So not the
Yeah.
troubles they did to sort of like end up together.
Yeah.
but
She
finally
doesn't
that-
mean
okay.
the trials and tribulations the couple went through.
Yeah,
She
just
means
to
that
find
just to
that
find the
person.
guy.
Yeah, like, oh, love at first sight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that exists. Though.
And also, it's like the 19 Shining Armies, he's always a certain kind of man.
yeah.
And I feel like maybe when I was younger, I used to rebel against that because I didn't want to find this good person. Like, I feel like in reality, people frown upon like nice guys or good guys.
Yeah, they do. hence the what was
And
that?
want the villains.
The bad guy.
Yeah, the bad boy vibe
bad
because it's an
boy,
edge. But everyone that I knew that ended up with the bad guy, yeah, no, situations are different. So
So what we sorry.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I felt like I was influenced by. I don't think I expected love to be a certain way. I think that was more where I looked at my parents' marriage and not so much fairy tales. Although I did mention that I
So are
do
you-
expect my love to feel like
You want a
love
fairy tale
forever.
moment.
You want the
But so
spark.
you're saying you didn't want the Disney princess love. You wanted a bad guy. What? A bad
Yeah,
boy.
when I was younger.
What about the fairy tale didn't want you to have a nice guy?
I don't know. I need
You
to
say
sit with
nice
that
guy or
one.
good
you need
guy?
to think about it.
Yeah.
Did
Like
it
by
ever, with your dating previously and stuff like that, ever impact the way you looked at a relationship?
very much. In fact, it shaped the way I look because it had to be in a certain way. The foot needed to go up and curl. I was that fairy tale
Yes.
type
Oh,
of.
the whole-
Yeah, I was literally that, and I was like always looking for an inner meaning. And if it didn't happen that way, you know what? You're not the one.
Wait, so you could
So,
meet
okay.
someone and like 2 weeks later you're like, nah. And then you run away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wouldn't jump
I
into
like that
relationships
because
like.
once you decide, you're done. You don't like stick around and wait.
No,
like, maybe it's gonna
I-
change. Maybe it's gonna get better.
No,
Yeah, the maybe is the problem.
Yeah, the maybe. So, like, me and Xavier, we laugh because when we speak about his past relationships, it was always like 4 years, 7 years, like that. And I'm like, we're practically married. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And for me, it was like short-term relationships, like maybe only four relationships, but it was like 6 months here, and my last relationship was maybe my longest, just before Xavier was like a year and 3 months. But I went in there saying, "This is my contract." Remember our contract?
Yes,
I said, "This is
yes.
what I want, A, B, and C."
Yeah.
And he was still fully. I was like, "Okay, bye." And I
Yeah.
left, and I literally got married to Xavier. I left him, and I got married to Xavier because I found
You know what
my
you
knight
want.
in shining
Yeah.
armor.
So for me, I would also say the same thing in terms of it. I'm not. I never grew up as a girly girl. I was a tomboy, so I never watched Ariel as a child. I never watched any of these Cinderella as a child. I only watched it when I was like out of school.
Okay.
So it never impacted me in a way to look at relationships in
Yeah.
a certain way. But knowing now, I can't really say if it had impacted. If you know me, you'll know that I haven't had much boyfriends in life. I had one serious boyfriend and then my marriage. So there's never been something that I can say I look at it in terms of the fairy tale and whatnot. But then watching it at a adult stage, it does make you feel like you want those, like you say, those magic moments constantly. My fairy tales is my K-dramas and my Chinese dramas,
I feel
and
like
I'm
I need
into
to watch
the
some of
Thai.
these because Vange is always
I'm
talking
She's
into
about
always
the
on
Thai
about it.
dramas now and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is it makes you believe that there's always going to be this happy,
Some fairy tale,
go-lucky
right?
fairy
Yeah.
tale kind of a thing. But to a certain extent, I do think it's good because you should have those moments more than
Yeah.
your fighting moments. If your fighting moments is taking over those fairy tale moments, there's something that's definitely
It
wrong.
shouldn't feel like you're enduring it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I think that's the other aspect when you were saying that how long do you think you should stay in it? I think a lot of the times, and I've said this before, that you guys are always on the same team. And when you guys realize that, then you don't verse each other, you don't argue too much with one another. There's going to be things that's like, yes, but baby, you did this to me and what, like that. And I think it's how we phrase it, but those ones is the ones that help you grow. But you pick your battles, categorize your battles, because it shouldn't be fighting all the time. Like this morning I woke up, I said, I miss you. I really miss you. And it's like, so he's not answering me, so we're going like, and I get irritated by, he knows I get irritated by this because I'm very needy, guys. I want my fairy tale constantly. So like driving in the car and he's like, so I'm like, so do you understand what I mean when I miss you? He's like, yes, I do. I do. I'm like, what does it mean? And he's like, we're doing this now. And then he's like, no, you want to be romanced. You want us to go on a date or something. I don't know what you mean when I miss
Yeah,
you.
you need those fairy tale
Yeah.
moments to keep in mind that
Yeah.
there is still dating.
And men are not wired to think like that. And Xavier is like that. Don't hint, tell me. So
Yeah.
like,
And
there's
you
no
want
hint.
the romance aspect. You
Yeah,
also want
yeah.
a box at the door and it's your
Yeah.
outfit for tonight for dinner.
Yeah.
So I
after 10 years.
must tell him, I must tell him that, like, We haven't dated in a while. And what I'm really happy about, he was busy watching this whole documentary series with this whole Matt Walsh, What is a Woman? And that led into some other interview with like other professionals in that area. And this one guy said, and I was sitting next to I was sitting in the bed next to him, and he's like, no, the problem is people get married and they just go on with their lives. They don't date anymore. They don't experience each other anymore.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I got this person and now the world's
Yeah.
I didn't hear it so like.
Don't catfish me until the marriage, and now that you have me, you're not doing anything
Yeah.
that we did before. And I know life comes,
Yeah.
but there was life as well. I sent a meme to my friend the other day and said, the meme said, it's amazing how when you were dating, work was never a problem.
Yeah.
Because you weren't always busy.
Yeah.
And then in marriage, it's like, yeah, but I have to finish my work. I'm busy. Because you're at the same job from when we were dating. How did it change with marriage? Because
Yeah.
now you don't see me as the person that I try to keep you.
Yeah.
Because now we've signed the papers.
no more chase.
There's no more chase.
Yeah.
So now you're just there, and then when you come home moody one day, you wonder why the woman is moody all of a sudden. It's because you made them used to a certain fairy tale. Like I say, these fairy tales are not showing after the wedding.
Yeah.
So you have that whole thing about, oh, I'm being romanced.
Yeah.
And after the wedding, you need to keep romancing, and vice versa, even with girls. If you dressed a certain way, because that's one big thing when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
If you dressed a certain way now dating, that's what the guy fell in love with. He fell in love not necessarily only with your personality, but it was the whole package.
It's your
You had a
vibe.
persona
No
that
pressure.
followed you, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. And then when you get married, you go into he can see me in a tracksuit every day. He can see me in this. He can see me
don't
in...
even put the situation after the kids. Then
Exactly.
it's even worse.
It's the same aspect in terms of, I want you to romance me. He wants you to look good the same way
yeah.
we
So
look good.
I've been ridiculed even when I'm at home. I put on makeup.
Yeah.
Even when I'm busy cleaning the house, I put on my makeup. And I've been ridiculed for that, right? Yeah. So that's why I don't want this man to come home and then he's like, ooh,
Yeah.
fraud case here. This
Yeah.
is not who I'm at. Who are you and where's my wife? What have you done to her? So, I think it's important to be conscious about the certain things that you make to keep up with that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should constantly do certain things, but
Just to
uphold
keep, yeah. Because
something
the same
about-
way you choose work today I just choose a lazy vibe.
Yeah.
But then they balance.
And what we were mentioning is, yes, life does happen. And those of you who know me knows that I hate walking. I absolutely hate jogging and walking. Like, from what, guys? But anyway, so we had this lady.
What are you running from?
Yeah, what are you running from? I sleep perfectly good at night. Anyway, so we had this ladies' event, and it was a park run. And, we were walking. And it was so refreshing because we got to know these ladies. Because I thought, we're just going to go walk at the Rietvlei. But the ladies were mingling because some were walking fast, some were walking slow. So you were, for longer than 5 minutes, you weren't even with the same person. But it was like walking in the forest, and you really got to know this person. And then I said to Xavier that I know I don't like walking, but this is such a cute date.
Yeah.
So when we got home, bear in mind I already did a 5 kilometer walk. So when we got home, I was like, I actually have less for
Anka
walking.
thinking 5 kilometers is a lot. It's
No,
just
guys.
very funny.
Guys, it's a lot. Thank you.
No, it
Thank
is
you.
not a lot.
You know what the funny, that's not even the funny story. We were walking for 2.5 the whole time, but the whole time we're saying 5 kilometer walk, 5 kilometers. So we're
They're
thinking,
taking it as 5, 10, 15, but
Oh
they're
my
just
word.
telling you this is the trail of the 5
sure,
kilometers.
did a whole 10 today. We did a whole 10 today. And then Leandra comes, she's like, no, you guys only did 5. We're like, no, it said this is the end of it. Then the people who know the route, they're like, guys, you didn't complete it. You just did 2.5
Oh my
twice.
So now you're going to walk away back. Okay, so in closing, I'm going to, the reason why, I hope I'm saying your name right, Simone or Simone.
Simone.
The reason why I kept so long to read your message is when you first sent the one, I was going to ask elaborate, and then you carried on elaborating. But the reason why is today's topic was specifically, many a times we do speak about topics, but we steer it in a specific direction, as even though there's lots of legs to a topic,
Yeah.
we are very careful, otherwise you could literally speak for 10 hours straight. Although that's why I
We
just
always
kept
go
it for the
that.
end,
Yeah.
because comments did make sense, but it just wasn't in the line with specifically the love section.
Okay.
But it does make sense in terms of the other aspects. So if Anka can just read the other aspects with Disney.
So am I going to read all of them?
Yeah, you can go and
Okay.
go as it goes.
So we started out here with Disney princesses have a dubious reputation, but they can also teach valuable lessons to girls of faith. Cinderella, known for her passivity, yeah, guys. But she willingly forgives her stepfamily's cruelty and stands up for for the defenseless. She, yeah, I don't know what that word is, guys. Sorry, my English is airtime is finished today. Extols and lives out courage and kindness. Belle accused of being a bad role model, but it's a good thing to focus on while Belle was captured. She sacrifices her freedom to protect her father, a Christ-like choice. Her intelligence and love of reading lets girls know it's good to be smart, and maybe it's all about perspective. I wish I had known then what I know now.
Yeah, so see, there are points that you can touch on, but
Yeah.
it wasn't specifically the topic of today, and that's why I kept saying don't read, because then
Yeah.
it's going to steer the
It's
conversation
still good points,
in
though.
a different. Yeah, it's a points that we can take to another show, but today specifically. So please don't feel that I wasn't reading. I just wanted to steer it in the love direction because that was the topic for today. But we will definitely go into that a little more at another time in terms of the good things you can take out of it. In terms of the reading,
The lessons and
the
all of that.
lessons and
I did. I mean, I was a fairy tale fanatic, so yeah. And I ended up okay.
you ended up okay. I just watched the OTV in the mornings and that was it. My love for TV only came later.
Shame we didn't have TV, guys. It was first books and then eventually.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, we didn't grow
It's
up
not,
with
in our marriage, we didn't have a TV for the first 2.5 years. And then one day I came home and that was romantic, babe. I hope you're still listening. That was romantic.
Indeed.
Because I always myself and Ashley watched something. It would be together on the laptop in bed. So
Yeah.
we never ever had a TV in a lounge. So our lounge was set up in a way where,
Like a sitting room.
yeah, but not really. There was no TV. And then one day I came home and there was this TV with a note that said now. It was like a lovely message.
That's
I
so
still have the
sweet,
letter.
man.
And
Aw.
yeah, but we didn't have
Yeah,
one.
like it's amazing how romance can look different
To
for
different
different
people.
people. Yeah, as long as they're speaking your specific love language.
And that's what I wanted to tell you just now.
Yeah.
When you do the red flags thing, as when you go into a relationship, whether it's a fairy tale or not, because many times things start as a fairy tale and it goes ugly. But there is also relationships that start ugly and turn into fairy tale. It's just because it started on a rough patch.
Yeah.
Maybe you fell pregnant before the time, or death in the family, or something that where you constantly, I mean, you can be married for 30 years and one's mother dies. It's going to cause a different emotion
Yeah.
that was never there before, that now can cause discord in a marriage. So those kind of things, it could start ugly and then turn nice, and
Or
vice
maybe you
versa.
like both come into it with bad habits and you need to work out, because that's not an
But
overnight
that comes
thing.
with proper communication. If
Yeah.
you aren't doing that, then they're through the roof.
Then it's just
Yeah.
toxic.
Because then also like I feel like it's so complicated, because you could meet someone like that and you're like, oh, this feels like work, because
Yeah.
now you need to like improve this part of yourself for it to
See, that's
ripple into the relationship.
but that's the important part of any kind of relationship, where you should always be self-aware and be willing to work on yourself.
Yeah.
Because that makes it then easier. When you get into a relationship, just remember that it is work. You're going to work. You're going to have to be cognizant of the fact that that person is different, has different vibes. And yes, they have to come to it as well. If they're not willing to come to the party, believe you me, it's a toxic relationship and you're always going to get the short end of the stick until they do come to the party.
So, what I was also saying is that in terms of that, starting off ugly or starting off nice, if you guys start together and your morals and your values align, the love thing, like Anka says, love you work on. But if
Yeah.
your values and your morals align,
That can't be
it's
fixed.
easy to love, because love is a feeling of a moment. In a day, you can fight for 10 hours and then
Yeah.
they do something and you're like, oh, but I love this man, kind of a thing. So you can't just do a relationship based on that feeling of
Yeah.
it
yeah.
must be. So if your values and your morals are aligned, this is where we're going, this is my goals, this is that, and there's an agreement in it,
Yeah.
and then your fairy tale can come to pass.
It can come to pass. I just want to say, like, marriage in itself is difficult already. So when you do these things, don't go choose the one that has the most work. And I know that sounds very shallow, but it's the reality of the matter,
Yeah.
because you're gonna end up feeling like that. Oh, this is a lot of work. But if you stay at me, navigate it, always being self-aware, always making sure that you always grow who you are
Yeah.
as a person.
Yeah.
I mean,
And just sorry to jump in there. I just want to say quickly how they always say that men know immediately when they meet their wife. Like in the first few minutes, they know that I'm going to marry this person. I feel like us as women, we need to be more conscious of that.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Based on our next topic, the TikTok one, which has something to do. So let's leave that for that conversation. But next week, just to give you a bit of what we're speaking about next week. Next week we are having a doctor/nurse in the building. So she is a nurse, but she's still studying to do her pediatrics and all of those. That is the proper word now when you work with kids.
yep.
And next week we will be speaking about specifically America's new abortion
Are we really talking about this?
things.
I'm already
But
amped.
then we're also going to compare with what's happening in South Africa, and we're going to give our 10 senses on the matter.
Okay.
So we are excited to have someone next week from a professional side as well. So as much as we throw our comments aside, there is someone that says this is actually what is happening.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Hope you guys
guys.
have a fabulous weekend, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for all the comments. Simone, we will definitely jump on all the comments you left us. Many times when we do a topic as well, it is something that somebody did ask us to mention, so we don't take it lightly. Thank you so much for your comments, and hope to see you guys next week. Ciao.
Bye.